Hi everyone. So today I'm going to go ahead and talk about The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 10, The Next World. Funny thing about this is as I thought I was recording the last time that I was talking about all this, and for some reason it didn't save the recording, so I'm going to have to do this again. This time I printed out the paper, so if you see me looking down, it's because I'm reading the script and not flipping over to another screen, because it seemed when I flipped over to the other screen, the entire video just stopped. So... learned my lesson that time. If I want to do something and I have something written out, print it out. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start off with if you haven't seen the episode, please don't watch this video until you've seen it. Definitely spoilers because obviously you haven't seen the entire episode. The other thing about this I'm going to state is I watched Talking Dead. They do talk about a few things. About the episode and time-wise and everything. So if you haven't seen that, you want to see that as well, please go ahead and do so once again before watching this video. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to cover things one by one as far as the characters and things that kind of go on, and then I'm going to cover something else at the very end, just to kind of keep things consistent, because this episode skipped around quite a bit. It was something that I wasn't fond of, especially because here you have Rick and Daryl, then you have Michonne, then you have Enid, then you have Daryl, then Daryl and Rick, entire thing. Then you cut back to Deanna, then you cut to Carl, then back to Deanna, or not Deanna, but Michonne and Spencer. Then you cut to Carl, then you cut back to that, and then you cut to. There's a lot of it, and something I'm not fond of. I think they should just kept from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, and kind of work things in as they needed to. Especially with the entire thing between Carl, Michonne, Spencer, and Enid, as everything happened there. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and kind of read through this. Rick and Daryl, they go out on a run. There's various different people wanting certain things. Denise asks for pop, and that the person that she's living with which I'm sorry I forget the name right now off the top of my head. Said in her dream, which kind of tells you that Denise and her may be sleeping together, or maybe in the same house, or whatever the case may be, that there may be a relationship going on there. So Daryl and Rick do go out. On the way out, they find a truck. The entire thing is filled with food and other things that they need, and so they take it, and while they're driving, they find a gas station, they find a vending machine, and they kind of tilt it over. Well, after they tilt it over and they're kind of looking, a person slams into Rick, steals the keys, and then kind of backs up. You learn that person, after all introductions are done, as the person's calling themselves Paul Rovia, aka Jesus. In the comics, actually, I believe the person's name is Paul Monroe, also named Jesus, as a nickname. And he kind of starts, walking off after telling them that there's walkers nearby. They're in the double digits and everything. And Rick kind of tried to ask him, how many zombies have he killed, and Jesus just kind of runs off, and Daryl's saying, "Dude, why are you asking this? No, don't try to bring him back." Kind of cuts a little bit later to, after that, he kind of runs off, and they hear what sounds like gunshots. They go investigate, find out it's firecrackers, and Daryl says, "He swiped your keys, didn't he?" Rick checks, and yeah, he swiped his keys. And by the time they get back there, Jesus is in the truck and is driving off and yelling, "I'm sorry." They kind of cut a little bit later to Daryl and Rick catching up to the vending machine, getting pop out of it, getting other snacks from it, and then they're still running after and kind of following the tracks of the vehicle. And they finally catch up to him when he's changing a tire. They split up. Rick comes in from behind, tries to grab him. Jesus fights him off, starts going around, and Daryl is there, like right in front of him. They finally overpower him, get him to the ground, and Jesus says, "I don't think you have bullets in that." Well, there's a zombie that's walking up. They fire, proving that, yeah, they do have bullets, and Rick says that he wants his keys. And he gives him, I believe, 2 to 3 times before he finally says, "This is your last time, your last try." And the next thing you see is Rick is tying him up by his arms and his legs. And Jesus is going, really? You're going to leave me here like this? And Rick says, well, the knots aren't that tight. I'm sure you can get out. But by then, we'll be long gone. So they start driving, and they start listening to music, and they see a barn off in the distance, and that's when they hear some noise on the roof, and Daryl turns off the music, and yeah, sure enough, you hear some noise on the roof, and he said, I think that prick's on the roof. And Rick just goes ahead and slams on the brakes, and there you see Jesus flying off, and Daryl gets out, he starts chasing after it. It seems like a Benny Hill moment. You can just put on the music and just hear like them running back and forth and going up. And Daryl trying to get him. Rick tries to cut him off and then kind of pulls back up with the truck, and he gets out of the vehicle. He decides he's going to go after the zombies, which are now loose. Daryl tries to go after Jesus. Jesus jumps in the truck. Daryl and him fight. Somehow Jesus gets Daryl's gun, tells Daryl to duck, and shoots a zombie that's coming up behind Daryl. Daryl says thank you, hits him. They continue fighting. In the entire tussle, the truck starts going backwards. They both bail out of the truck. Jesus doesn't get too far, and he gets hit in the head with the truck. And yeah, the just entire kind of funny moment, the entire kind of fight scene, or the running scene, was kind of funny. But then the entire thing of Rick kind of stating law of averages, today's going to be the day, we're going to get, all this stuff. And Daryl calls him on it. Law of averages is, as he puts it, is BS. And then they're deciding what they're going to go ahead and do with Jesus. So from there, I'm going to go ahead and stop for a minute, and I'll get back to them in a little bit. But in the meantime, Michonne saw Spencer walking into the woods. She was on top of the gate, and she decides she's going to go ahead and investigate, and she's going to start following him. Well, she gets out there when he's kind of walking up to a zombie, and she says, I got this. They talk, and he said that he's out there for a reason. He doesn't want to talk about it. And she says a quote that Deanna told her, and it kind of gets his attention. And she says she's wondering why Deanna's son is now out here. So she starts following him. You also find out Carl and Enid are out there as well, and they're just going to go to a spot. And it looks like she starts eating, but in the meantime, they find what looks like a map. And it's been written on, but it's wet, so she can't read anything from it. The two of them see Michonne and Spencer go walking by, and then Enid tells Carl that she doesn't want to be out there anymore. Well, he just stands up and just starts walking. Doesn't care if she's right behind her or not. He just kind of starts walking. You can tell it kind of agitated him. And on the way that they're walking back, they run into what you find out later is the zombie Deanna. Well, Enid wants to kill her right away, and Carl's saying, no, we can't do that. And she's asking, she finally goes, okay, what's wrong with you? And he says, your mom is dead. You didn't want to be here, why don't you just go home? And she gets angry at that, and she does kind of walk off. Well, Carl then goes ahead and lures Deanna towards where Spencer and Michonne are, and Michonne sees that he's walking by and just kind of goes, Carl? And then sees that, and then the zombie Deanna kind of turns and starts walking towards the two of them. Well, Spencer reveals that this is the reason why he's out there. He thought he saw Deanna that night, and was out here in the woods, basically looking for her, so that way he can actually kill her and then bury her. Zombie Deanna kind of walks up. Michonne holds her, and then Spencer puts a knife to her head and then buries her. And he says, he doesn't have family, and Michonne kind of points out that she's been out there the entire time. Yeah, she still has family. The community is his family, and kind of lets him know that he still has a home. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and bounce back to Rick and Daryl. The next time you see them, they're driving back in the car. Daryl's in the back seat next to Jesus, who Jesus is still knocked out because of it. And I think Rick's kind of moving the car a certain way so that way Jesus' head kind of falls on Daryl's shoulder just as kind of a joke. And Daryl keeps knocking him away. During the talk, Rick says that he's starting to listen more to the entire group, and that the group is right. He also talks to Daryl a little bit later and says that Daryl says that he was been thinking about what Rick said at the quarry, that no, they shouldn't be looking for more people. And he said that Rick is right. Rick immediately turns around saying that no, Daryl, you're right. We should be looking for more people. So the entire ideas have flipped for the two of them, which is actually kind of interesting. They then take Jesus to Denise to get checked up and put him in the place where they were holding the alpha wolf. And you find out later that Daryl's the one that's watching over him until somebody else could kind of step up and take that place. When Rick gets back and Michonne gets back, they talk. He hands her some mints, saying that that's what they were able to find. She asks him about his day. He doesn't want to talk about it. He asks about her day. She doesn't want to talk about it. She ends up finding out that the toothpaste that he actually found ended up at the bottom of a lake. And then after that, they get together, which has been building up for quite some time. Honestly, it's about damn time that the two of them have. And after that, the next thing you pop in on is the two of them are in bed, and he hears, "Psst, Rick. Hey, Rick, wake up." And both of them wake up. She grabs her weapon, he grabs his gun, and Paul's there like this, like that. Just hold on a minute. It says, "It's about time we should talk." And it cuts out from there. This episode actually, like I said, cut from one scene to the next, and it kind of did a lot. I didn't like that. But the actual episode itself and what happened in it, I actually liked. There's a lot of stuff that happened that I didn't think was going to happen. I thought that they were going to go out and, Daryl and Rick were going to go out. They might run into a character kind of like Jesus, and then that was going to be it. I didn't think that everything that was going to happen, the extent of it that happened, was actually going to happen. That actually kind of shocked me. It was actually kind of nice. Everything with Michonne and Spencer kind of going out. I'm not sure how Deanna would have been able to escape, because they were hunting zombies like none other at the very end to make sure that there would be no more zombies inside the community. So somehow she escaped. I'm not exactly sure how. But of course, story. So that's what they wanted to do, as my girlfriend will put it. So yeah. The entire thing with Carl and him kind of being angry or kind of aggressive in a way. You're passive aggressive even towards Enid. It kind of can tell that I was thinking that there was going to be a change. I wasn't sure exactly how much, and I'm wondering exactly how he is going to act from here on out, especially because of other things that he said to Enid when she said about people being out there, and him saying that the last time they were here they attacked. So that's kind of setting up the entire mind state that he actually probably is on the same mind state as Daryl, is that they probably don't want other people around right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that kind of develops. Out of 0 to 10 kind of ranking on this, I would give it 8.5. I like the episode, and I can't wait to see what happens next, especially to see what Jesus actually says to Rick and to Michonne and the community that is there. The stuff in The Talking Dead, Michonne said that people were thinking that it was like 2 weeks or whatnot, maybe could have passed by. The person that plays Michonne in Walking Dead said no, 2 months have passed by, so that's actually kind of understandable on how they can probably be running low on supplies and other things of the sort. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. If you liked the video, if you enjoyed it, please click like, please subscribe to my channel, and please leave comments below on what you thought on the episode. And what you like, what you hated, what you wish would have changed, the things that you thought, about damn time that it's actually happening. So with that, y'all have a good day. Thank you for watching.